Can a village triumph over the sleep-stealing shadow? A tale of courage and wisdom. Once upon a time in a small, sleepy village nestled among rolling hills, there lived a young boy named Ethan. Unlike his neighbors, who woke up each morning refreshed and ready to seize the day, Ethan struggled to sleep. Night after night, a shadowy figure lurked in the corners of his room, casting an eerie chill that made sleep impossible. Ethan tried everything to banish the shadow. He rearranged his room, hung dreamcatchers, and even consulted the wise old woman who lived on the outskirts of the village. But nothing worked. Exhausted and desperate, Ethan's health began to suffer, and his once bright eyes dulled. One day, Ethan's grandmother, who had been a healer in her younger years, paid a visit. She watched her grandson toss and turn in his bed and then asked him to describe the shadow. "It's like a darkness that clings to the walls," Ethan said, his voice tinged with fear. His grandmother nodded, her eyes narrowing in thought. "I think I know what's happening," she said, her voice filled with concern. "You're not just dealing with a simple shadow. It's a sleep-stealing shadow." Ethan's eyes widened in horror. "What does that mean?" "The sleep-stealing shadow is a creature that feeds on the sleep of children," his grandmother explained. "It's drawn to those who are restless or anxious, like moths to a flame." Ethan's heart sank. "Is there anything we can do?" His grandmother placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Yes, there is," she said, her eyes twinkling with determination. "But we'll need to work together. First, we need to create a trap to capture the shadow." Ethan and his grandmother spent the next few days gathering materials and concocting a plan. They placed a bed in the center of the room, surrounded by mirrors and bright lights. Then, they filled the room with the sweet scent of lavender, which was said to calm restless spirits. That night, Ethan lay in bed, his heart pounding with anticipation. The shadows danced on the walls, and Ethan felt a shiver of fear. But he didn't let it overpower him. He focused on the task at hand, his mind sharp and alert. As the clock struck midnight, the sleep-stealing shadow emerged from the darkness. It slithered across the floor, its shape shifting and changing as it moved. Ethan held his breath, waiting for the right moment. Then, with a swift motion, Ethan flicked the lights on, flooding the room with blinding brightness. The mirrors reflected the light, amplifying its power. The sleep-stealing shadow let out a hiss of pain, its form flickering and wavering. But Ethan and his grandmother were not done yet. They recited ancient incantations, channeling their energy into the trap. The lavender scent grew stronger, enveloping the shadow in a soothing embrace. Finally, with a burst of light, the shadow vanished, leaving behind only a faint echo of its presence. Ethan let out a sigh of relief, collapsing onto his bed. The next morning, Ethan woke up feeling refreshed and renewed. The sun shone through his window, casting a warm glow on the room. He smiled, knowing that he had conquered the sleep-stealing shadow with the help of his grandmother. From that day on, Ethan slept soundly, his nightmares replaced by dreams of adventure and joy. And the village continued to thrive, its inhabitants free from the grasp of the sleep-stealing shadow. As for Ethan's grandmother, she passed on her wisdom to the next generation, ensuring that the village remained safe for years to come. And Ethan, with a newfound sense of courage, faced each day with a smile, knowing that he had overcome the darkness that once haunted him.